What is up, my fellow movie nerds? My name's Barry King and I am that weird movie nerd. (3022) or 3022, directed by John Suits, starring Omar Epps, Kate Walsh and Miranda Cosgrove, and I've got to say, I'm sorry. I promise I wouldn't. Dude, what the hell? Like, what the hell? This is a disgrace to films and filmmakers. Alright, so this movie is... I didn't like it. It was boring. I had my phone out the entire time going through Instagram. I didn't like it at all. Don't get me wrong, the concept was really cool. The concept was amazing. I love the concept. Earth exploding, nowhere to go back home to. So what do you do with that? You have the last of the human species remaining on a ship and you kill every single one of them off. Except two. But they're gonna die anyway. This movie has actually given me a lot of hope though. A lot of hope to my filmmaking career that I want to get into. Seeing that these type of movies get greenlit just gets me really excited to pitch my movie ideas that are actually 1,000 million times better than this, I feel. I mean, sure, it sounds cool. Oh yeah, the earth explodes and there's people remaining and they're trying to get over this fear of being the only people there and trying to get to the planet where they can survive and all that. But you don't see any of that. You don't see them getting to the planet and adapting and having to survive. No, you see them just all crumble and then fight each other and get angry and then eventually die off. I just don't get this movie. Like, I get that it's more of a drama rather than a sci-fi, but like, it's got no conclusion. The two main characters kind of find each other, but then that's it. Like, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna just die together? Like, that's so boring. I just don't get the thought process around this. Like, the script is so lame. It's such a cool idea, but they've done such a stupid idea of explaining this idea and showcasing this idea. They're not even really showcasing the idea. They're showcasing people crying over the idea. You get me? Let's start talking about the characters. Now, Miranda Cosgrove, I really was scared for her because the only thing I've ever seen her in is iCarly, and she was a comedic person then. And I was like, oh, how's she gonna do in this role? And she did amazing. Now, I'm not sure if that's because she played Carly in iCarly, and I had a little crush on her in my childhood, but I liked her in it, so I was surprised by how well she acted seriously. The only thing I hated was how they killed her off so early, and just like that. I can't click with that finger. Like that. Sure, she had to go because everybody was dying, but her reason was so lame. And then afterwards, they're like, yeah, she's dead. Okay, let's move on. There was no grieving. They lived in the station for what, a couple months, years? It was years, wasn't it? And we didn't even get to see them grieve. And that was like one of the biggest issues I had with this movie was they didn't dwell on human moments enough. Everything was just fast forwarded and we only saw these big chunks of plot. There wasn't much character in there where you could hear them laugh or just be happy or enjoy themselves. There wasn't any of that, which sucked because that's what you need in a drama to make you feel something for these characters. And speaking of other characters, Richard, was he supposed to be in another movie and they actually just quickly moved him over to this movie? Because he didn't seem like he was in the right movie. He was acting like such a clown and joking around so much around this scenario that was supposed to be taken so seriously. Now, Kate Walsh was a perfect cast for this, like a perfect cast. She was that character who was going insane and was grieving and all that, and she really did well in 13 Reasons Why as the mother. Hannah Baker's mother. It took me longer than it should have. She portrayed Hannah Baker's mother so well in that grieving and that just craziness of losing a kid and all that. That was perfect. So I see why they cast her in this, and she was amazing. Same with Omar Epps. Like, the cast was great. They did their job, and that's probably where this movie shined the most, was just its cast and its acting. Not its dialogue or its script or anything, just the actors did their job really well for what they had to work with. Let's talk about the editing, the cinematography, and all that jazz. Now, what was wrong with the start of this movie? As soon as I started watching it, the editing was really freaking weird, and I was like, holy crap, the editing isn't going to be like this throughout the whole thing, and thank God it wasn't, but just those first few minutes was ridiculously horrific editing. I hated it so much. I'm a big fan of anamorphic lenses and all this, but they had the same problem I have with my anamorphic lens, and that is when you focus on something, sometimes the frame gets weirdly squished and you have to de-squish it and all that in editing, but I haven't figured out how to do that. But you'd think a Hollywood blockbuster movie would have figured out how to de-squish their image so that the anamorphic look didn't look squished. But there were certain scenes where they look squished and I was like, whoa, that is very amateur work. And it's somehow in a Netflix movie. That was just a tiny little gripe I had and I saw and I was like, oh, okay. The CGI is horrible, but I heard that this is a very low budget movie, so I guess I can give that a pass. But then again, it's Netflix and it's a sci-fi movie, so why wouldn't you give them a bit more budget to do a sci-fi movie? There were a few scares in this as well, and they weren't scary. I'm not sure if they were meant to be jump scares or if they were meant to be scary or tense, but I'm having a stroke. I didn't feel it. Now, the double time period storytelling. Don't. Why was that an afterthought? Like, it didn't contribute anything to the overall story, to the overall arc of the characters. It just showed us that this was the last person surviving, so it kind of spoiled the ending. But then again, I did like how it was a twist to say, oh, but he's not the last one standing, that Jackie's character is still alive. But you could have just played this whole thing linear, because you were jumping all over the place from time period to time period to time period. And you could have just made that two storyline thing disappear and just had it linear, and it would have been great because you were jumping from time to time to time. You get what I'm saying? I'm very tired, I'm sorry. Also, quick question, how the hell did this get rated R? Like, there was some murdering in it. Was there any blood? I know I've become very used to violence and all that in movies, and I can hardly tell if there's swear words in movies anymore, but like, this didn't seem like it needed an R rating. It didn't seem like it was Deadpool, that kind of R rating. And also, the title, was that an afterthought as well? Because that felt like so thrown in, like really thrown in. It felt like someone was like, what if he was in the spaceship for 3,022 days? And then the director was like, I like the idea, let's do that. Let's do one reshoot where he reads out a line and that's the title. Like, that's so lazy. So sick of lazy titles. Like Silence of the Lambs. Oh, that is so good. It's like a line in the movie, but then again, it's the whole movie. That's my rant about 3022. That's all I've got to say. Like, this movie's a mess. The storyline isn't engaging. It's really forgettable. I am struggling to do this review because I watched it a week ago and am only able to get this review out now, and I've forgotten, like, the whole movie. There was Russians in it, wasn't that? That's so forgettable. I forgot about the Russians. How do you forget about the Russians? I'm going to give this movie a 1 out of 5 stars. 1 star for the actors, solely for the actors, and half a star for the idea. And the rest is shit. Thank you all for watching the video. If I said anything wrong, if I said anything right, if you want to discuss this movie further, or just discuss movies in general, then pop a comment down below and we'll have a little movie discussion down in there. A little bit of a movie rant, if you may. Also, if you have a movie you want me to review, or you just think I'd like, then add it in the comments down below and I will get around to reviewing it. Maybe in the coming years, since I've got such a long plethora of movies to get through. But I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next review.